Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MMA up-and-comer Paulina Granados. Paulina, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Paulina, let's go back in time a little bit. Let's go back to your high school days. During your high school days, you competed in track, volleyball, and powerlifting. Just curious, why powerlifting? What drew you to that?
Well, ever since I was actually in junior high, we started lifting weights, and I was always pretty strong for my size. And then in high school, I would lift, with the powerlifters all the time. And then one day my powerlifting coach asked me if I wanted to compete, and I was like, yeah, sure. So that's how that started.
Mm-hmm. Now, mixed martial arts. When and why did you decide to get involved in MMA?
About almost 4 years ago, actually 5 years ago, I was introduced to MMA by a friend, and I wasn't really interested in it, but he did it, so I was, I just go watch or whatever, and I really had no interest in it. It was weird, and then there came a turning point in my life about a year after that, where I was just always getting into a lot of trouble, and I was 21, so I was drinking a lot, and something happened that I realized, I had to get my life in order, and I was just thinking about how when I was younger, I was so disciplined, and I was playing sports and stuff, and I was like, what can I do, to get some direction in my life? So I had seen this Paulina Granados fight, and then after that, I was like, man, I want to do what she's doing. And I remembered my friend had been doing it, and Freddie Medellin is the instructor, and I kept in touch with him, and I joined the gym just for fun, and then it just kind of everything just happened from there.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you started doing the training, were you training in one specific art? Were you just doing kickboxing? Were you just doing Muay Thai? Were you just doing jiu-jitsu? Or when you started, did you just completely go for it all and just start doing completely MMA when you got involved?
I did everything, but I had my favorites.
Sure.
After a while, I was like, ew, I don't like grappling with all these dirty guys. I didn't like it, so I didn't do it for a while, and I was just focusing on kickboxing, and then I decided that I wanted to do Naga, because my coach told me, if you want to be MMA, you got to do everything, not just kickboxing. So, I trained for a month for Naga, and I competed, and I got third place, and I was like, oh, that was pretty cool, and I started understanding, all the techniques and why they were being used. So, I started liking it more, but I was still all about kickboxing. Even though I like jiu-jitsu, but kickboxing was my thing, which is funny because now I prefer to be grappling now.
Mm-hmm. When you decided to take up mixed martial arts, was the plan to fight, or was the plan just to train? And when you decided to fight, how long into the training were you?
I was just doing it for fun at first, and then my instructor, would tell me that I'm picking up stuff really fast, and he told me I had good reaction to things naturally, and that kind of got me pumped up, and I wanted to train more. And then he asked me if I would want to fight a kickboxing fight in Oklahoma. This is about a year into my training, and I said yeah, and then we traveled up to Oklahoma, and I won my first kickboxing fight, and that feeling of having your hand raised, that was the best feeling ever, and I was exhausted. I was happy that I won, and all that hard work, it just felt good, and I wanted to keep feeling that feeling.
Mm-hmm. Now, what did your parents and friends say when you told them that you wanted to be a fighter?
Well, my friends, they weren't surprised just because of how I am, and how I was growing up. I was always a little rough around the edges, always, talking crap and bagging it up, and I was a big tomboy, and I wasn't scared of really anything or anybody, so they weren't really surprised, but my dad wasn't really surprised just because he knows I'm a big tomboy, but my mom was the one who, she didn't want me fighting, and she goes all my fights, but she's like crying the whole time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, when you meet new people and you tell them what you do, you tell them that you're a fighter, what kind of reaction do you get? Do you get the, surprised reaction of, wow, I can't believe that you fight, or do you get the reaction of, why? Why do you want to get punched in the face? What kind of reaction do you get when you tell people that you fight?
I get a lot of different reactions. Sometimes, people, ask me if I'm a gymnast because of my body type. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, what do? You do CrossFit? And I'm like, no, I do something a little more extreme. And they're like, what? And then I tell them, I fight MMA and, kickboxing. And they're like, what? That's crazy. We knew you did something. And then I also get, the people that are like, oh, why would you want to do that? Why don't you just go back to school, get a real job or whatever? And I get a lot of different, opinions and reactions, but it doesn't really matter to me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep doing it till the wheels fall off.
You train at American Revolution MMA. Is that your day one gym, or have you trained somewhere else in the past and now you just train there?
No, I've trained with American Revolution from the beginning until now.
Mm-hmm. And do you do any other training anywhere else besides there, or just solely at American Revolution?
Well, a couple years ago, I went to Thailand, and I trained there for 5 weeks. And then, 2 months ago, I went to MMA Lab in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Benson Henderson and John Crouch's gym. Right. And I went up there and trained with Maria Magana. She's, super badass, jiu-jitsu purple belt that's, my size. And with Jocelyn Lybarger. She's also an MMA fighter. Mm-hmm.
Have you done any training with Jordan Gaza? She's from Corpus Christi. You're from Corpus Christi. It kind of makes sense. Have you ever done any training with her?
No, I have not.
Oh. Just never came up, or not interested?
Not interested.
Maybe a potential fight? Is that what's keeping you away?
If she can drop down the weight class, yeah.
Well, but you fought at 115 before, maybe.
Yeah, I only fought at 115 my first fight. I didn't really have to cut any weight. I walk around at 115, 118.
Oh, I see. Paulina, how did you get your nickname Firefox?
Maurice Smith, he was my instructor. And, he came down a couple of times and trained with us. And I'm not sure if you know who Maurice Smith is, but he's old school, UFC,
UFC heavyweight champion. Yeah,
heavyweight champ. And, well, he comes down to train with us, and, when we go train, he's really oh, let's put, some lighter weights on there for Paulina or whatever. And I'm like, no, whatever y'all are doing, I'll try it, and however fast they were running, I wanted to run just as fast. And when I'm swimming, he was trying to teach me, correct form, because I'm a terrible swimmer. And I would just, go as fast as I could with the most terrible form. And he just started calling me, I guess, Firefox. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm stubborn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, for people who maybe haven't seen you fight before, what would you describe your fighting style as?
I don't know. It's always different. Sometimes I stand up more and, I throw a lot of punches and kicks. Other times I'm more about, the clinch game. Other times I'm just trying to take her down. I don't know. It always varies. I try to adapt to the person I'm fighting, and I try to, take away what they're good at and make them do what they're not good at, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
What's your favorite part and least favorite part about mixed martial arts?
My least favorite part would have to be cutting weight, because I like to eat. Mm-hmm. And now that I dropped down to 105, I can't eat the way I like to eat all the time. Mm-hmm. I like to eat desserts, and I like to bake cakes, and I bake cheesecakes. Mm-hmm. I can't eat that anymore.
Mm-hmm. And your favorite part?
My favorite part is pushing my body to do the things I never thought I could do. And then, winning, of course, and, all my friends and family seeing that moment and sharing it with me. That's, my favorite part of it all,
Yeah, definitely. What's the worst injury that you've had since you've competed in MMA?
Worst injury? I don't know, like, I'm always messed up. I guess I have to say, one time, I was kicking, like, so hard with no care in the world if I was hitting elbows or anything. This is actually during training. I have a little temper on me. We're hard sparring, and I was kicking really, really hard for, like, three-minute rounds, and I, like, got, like, this big old bump on my shin, and it got, like, real watery. Like, I didn't know what happened to it. It was just so bruised. Like, it was, like, the worst bruising that I'd ever got, like, in training, and it wasn't even in a fight.
Did you have to have that drained?
No, I just left it alone, and it just eventually went down. Stopped kicking with it.
I see. Now, Paulina, you're obviously, a big enough fan of the sport to compete in it, but, how big of a fan are you? Are you watching a lot of MMA on TV?
Yeah, I do, like, every weekend.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely enough to watch every weekend. There's a lot of shows going on, yeah. Who are some fighters? I know you mentioned you were a fan of Gina Carano, but who are some other fighters that you enjoy watching, whether it's male or female?
I like watching Ronda Rousey, too, because it's like, every time I watch her, I'm like, oh my god, is she going to lose this one? Oh no, she broke her arm.
Yeah.
And, what else I like to watch? TSP, of course. He's super nice to look at. And I like watching Cain Velasquez, of course, because I'm Mexican and I totally brown pride supporter. I like my teammates, of course. My teammates are my favorite people to watch just because I know them personally. Who else? Oh yeah, I like Uriah's favorite too. He's one of the first fighters that I ever heard about. So I don't know. Even though he doesn't do as good as he used to, I still like to watch him because I've been following him for a long time.
Paulina, you were 4-0 as an amateur. Whose decision was it to turn pro after only 4 fights? Was that something that you had planned? I'm gonna do the amateur thing for 1-2 years and then eventually go pro, or was this your coach's decision? Why did you decide to turn pro after only 4 amateur fights?
I turned pro after 4 amateur fights, but I also had 2 kickboxing fights that I did, and I've been training for 3 years, and my instructor, he's real picky about who goes pro under him, and he felt like I was ready, and I felt like I was ready, and it started getting hard to finding amateur fights at my size in Texas, so we decided to take it the next step and start getting paid.
Now, you made your pro debut back in March. Was there a lot of nerves going in that fight, first pro fight? Was there nerves in that fight, or was it just like any other fight that you've had before?
Well, people would ask me that before the fight. I said no. I'm not. I never get nervous, really. And but this was also my first time ever fighting here at home. So I was cool. Warming up. I was I felt good. And then as soon as I walked out and heard the crowd, it was the most overwhelming feeling, and that's when my nerves started. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody I know is here, watching me right now, and it's just crazy. And when I stepped in the cage, I see this little girl in front of me, she wants to rip my head off, and my whole family's there. It was pretty scary, in that moment. I thought I was okay, and then I heard everybody, and I'd never heard a crowd that big for me. It's always me getting booed, or 10 people in the crowd cheer for me because I'm always the out of town fighter. So it was crazy, but I'm glad I got that feeling out of the way. So I know what to expect for this next one because I'm fighting here at home again.
Now, that first experience as a pro, did it feel different, or was it just that you were fighting in front of your hometown crowd, and that's what made it feel different? Was that it? Yeah. So
that's what made a difference.
So it didn't have anything to do with pro or amateur. It was just the crowd, being your hometown. Okay. And on your Twitter, it says that you like to do crafty things and dangerous things. Could you give us an example of both?
I've always been I like to bake and make things. Like just this past weekend, I made this little earring holder thing. You hang it on the wall and you put your necklaces and stuff on it. I painted it and I glued little rhinestones to it. I'm always making things, and I have a sewing machine and always sewing stuff. I don't know. I feel like I'm the pioneer woman. I just like to make things. I don't know. And then I guess dangerous would be because I've always been really into dangerous sports. I guess MMA, and I used to do a lot of skimboarding, but my coach doesn't think it's a good idea because he doesn't want me to get hurt for MMA. So I stay away from stuff like that. I used to always jet ski and do a lot of water sports with my family, and then I also get in trouble because I like to do crazy Cirque du Soleil stuff at work. I work at a personal training studio, and me and my one of my coworkers are always doing handstands off of dumbbells, and we'll do handstands off of each other, just stuff like that. And I don't know, it's an adrenaline rush for me, I guess.
This Friday at Legacy FC 20, you're going to be fighting Maria Lopez. Is this fight going to be on Access TV, or is this on the non-televised undercard?
I was told that it may or may not be on the main card, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. The official fight card, nobody knows that yet. We're not going to know it. I don't even know till weigh-ins or maybe even the day of the fight. So, I don't care where I'm at on that, but I just know it's Legacy, and I want to do something cool and something that people remember me, from and want to see more of, so they can continue to ask me to come back.
Do you have a multiple fight deal with Legacy, or is this just a one-off because they're coming to Corpus Christi and you're a Corpus Christi girl and they just put you on the card? Is that the case, or do you have a deal with them?
Well, they asked me if I wanted to fight again for them in September, and I think that was going to be in Corpus Christi too. So I don't know if they want me just because it's in Corpus Christi, or if they just want me, period. I don't know. I haven't signed anything yet, as far as multiple fight deals or anything, but I want to be with them. I mean, it's based out of Texas, and I'm from here, so I would like to, travel and, wherever in Texas to fight for them. That would be nice.
Now you're going to be fighting Maria Lopez. What are your thoughts about her as an opponent?
From what I've seen in pictures, she's an attractive, mom, So I don't know if this is, her priority, or I don't know. I've never seen any videos of her, but I did see her competing at a grappling tournament that I did a couple of weeks ago. Actually, the week after my fight is when I did that grappling tournament, March 28th, and I saw her there, and I watched her compete for a little bit, and that was about it.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Yeah, this is her first MMA fight, regardless, pro, amateur. It seems like, and this is not an insult to her, but it seems like this is just kind of on her bucket list, I guess you could say, just trying MMA out. Now, with that being said, of someone who hasn't competed before in mixed martial arts, without revealing too much, of course, how do you go about putting together a game plan for somebody who you only have, a limited amount of just grappling footage of her, and, this is mixed martial arts, grappling is just one piece of the puzzle. How do you go about putting together a game plan for someone who doesn't have the experience?
I just know myself, and I know what I need to improve with my game, and, I feel like if I improve on the things that I want to improve on, that this is my fight. I train hard, and this is my priority, and I'm not going to let anybody stand in my way of, my goals in this sport. So I'm just going to prepare myself and be the best me that I can be, you know?
Mm-hmm. Game plan wise, do you know, are you big into that? Are you big into having a set game plan, or is that just something that you kind of just leave it up to your coaches and they, you know, tell you what to do and what not to do? How does that all work for you?
You know, sometimes I'm a little stubborn with the things I want to make happen in the fight, and that's probably one of my weaknesses. But I don't really go in with game plans, but when I see something and I want it to happen, like, I try really hard to make it happen. But I don't really go into a fight thinking anything, but this time I really want to finish it. I haven't finished the fight, and I just want to finish it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I just see I need to do something cool.
Right. Obviously, I know you're hoping that the whole crowd will be for you for this fight, but how many people specifically do you know for a fact are going to be coming there to support you? How many people have you invited to the fight? Like friends, family, how many tickets have you sold for this fight?
Shoot, I don't know how many tickets I've sold, but I sold quite a few, and I know a lot of my friends from out of town, they bought their tickets from Cage Tix, and they're traveling down here to come watch. So, you know, I have a pretty big fan base here in Corpus, and, you know, I'm from Ingleside. It's like 18 miles north of here. I have a pretty big following, you know, because I'm friendly, and I try to talk to everybody, and I try to be nice to everybody, you know, if it's worth it. But, I don't know, I think there's going to be a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned in the first fight that you had, the first pro fight that you had, that the crowd, you know, that really made you nervous when you got in front of the big lights and the crowd was cheering for you. How have you kind of mentally prepared for that this time around, knowing that you're going to have the same sort of atmosphere around you, maybe even a bigger atmosphere, you know, possibly this fight being on Access TV and Legacy is a bigger organization, biggest organization you've fought for to date. How have you prepared for that to make sure that those nerves don't get to you, or is there really just no way to prepare for it? It's just, you know, what you feel on that night is how you're going to deal with it.
I don't think there's a way to prepare for that, but I think, you know, like, I've already felt this before, so it won't be such a strange feeling to me this time around. You know, you know, the first time I felt it, it was like goosebumps, like, oh my god, like, that was really loud, like, that was crazy. Like, it made me, like, want to cry. It was, like, an amazing feeling, you know? And I just try to keep a straight face, and, you know, I already felt that feeling, so I feel like I'm going to be okay this time around. But, you know, I won't know until I walk out how I'm going to feel.
Mm-hmm. Were you feeling any pressure, or was it just completely, you were just nervous? It wasn't so much of, you know, pressure of you had to win, it was just nerves. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know, it was more like, I don't know if it was nerves or, like, fear. I don't know, like, it was crazy. Mm-hmm. I was almost, like, in awe, like, how you know, just everybody being there supporting me, like, it was, like, shocking. I can't describe it. I guess I wasn't expecting that much noise.
Now, is this fight going to be 3 3-minute rounds, or is it going to be moved up to 3 5-minute rounds? Because I know your first fight was 3 3s, but that was just a debut. But since this is her debut, is the same rules apply? How does that work, or do you not know?
Yeah, I think it's 3 3-minute rounds. I think in Texas, like, the first 3 fights are 3 3s, and then it goes up from there.
I see.
I think. I'm not sure.
I see. And now, Paulina, last question. What are your goals in the sport, both short-term and long-term?
Short-term, I want to, you know, win this fight on Friday. And long-term, you know, since, I mean, there are women in the UFC now. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they add an atomweight division and I get on it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I want to be on Invicta too, but now, I mean, UFC is, like, letting us in, so it's like, I want to be in too, you know, that's the main stage. Mm-hmm.
Paulina, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I would like to say thank you to all my sponsors, Richard Sanchez out at Lithia, Chrysler Dodge Jeep, and also Eric Martinez, Fat Daddy's Burgers, Results Personal Training, hold on, sorry.
Sure.
Pro Performance Training Center. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I always do this. Wait 1 second. Rocks Discount Vitamins and More, Armadillo Sports Chiropractic, Hans Gonzalez, Attorney at Law, and Berkeley Eye Center, Corpus Christi, the Sirius brand. They make my shirts and my banner.
Paulina, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck this Friday at Legacy FC 20 against Maria Lopez.
Thank you.